2012 lecture is titled Brown, a comprehensive analysis into what makes toast delicious. So, before I answer this pivotal question, what is toast? I like to talk about the culture and history behind this cultural phenomenon. So the word toast, which means sliced bread singed by heat, comes from the Latin word terrere, or to burn. This important tool of Western civilization has been responsible for nourishing great leaders, tragic heroes, and vilified personages alike. Nowadays, toast is being desecrated. Artisanal San Diego restaurants that overprice this food of the common man. Now, before I want to get to what you think about it, you're like, what is toast? Well, think about this. You have to go into the core. What is bread? Bread is not real bread? What's wheat? We'll get to that in a second. So bread is a staple food prepared from dough, flour, and water. It's usually by baking, obviously. Throughout recorded history, it has been popular throughout the world, and it is one of the world's most oldest artificial foods. Nutritionally, bread has been an ample source of grains and nutrients and stuff. And the serving size is equivalent to one slice of bread for just 1 ounce. However, bread is also considered a good source of carbohydrates through the whole grains, and nutrients such as magnesium, iron, selenium, vitamin B, and dietary fiber can also be found. So, in order to answer this question of what is bread, we usually break this down to 3 main categories: flour, liquids, and fats. All right? Okay, so let's answer this question. What is flour? Flour is a grain ground into a powdered consistency. Flour provides the primary structure, starch, and protein of the final baked bread. The protein content of the flour is the best indicator of the quality of bread dough and finished bread. While bread can be made from all-purpose wheat flour, especially bread flour containing more protein, 12 to 14% of its content, is recommended for high-quality bread. If one chooses a flour with lower protein content, say 9 to 11%, to produce bread, a shorter mixing time is required to develop gluten strength properly. Wheat flour, in addition to its starch, contains 3 water-soluble protein groups, which are albumin, globumin, and proteoses, all of which can be found in human blood, interestingly, and 2 water-insoluble protein groups, which include glutenin and gliadin. Glutenin and gliadin are very important. Here's what I will talk about. Here's like the main reason behind bread. When the flour is mixed with water, the water-soluble proteins dissolve, leaving the glutenin and gliadin to form the structure of the resulting bread. The resulting networks and strands produced by these 2 proteins are known as gluten. And gluten is the backbone of bread, essentially. Gluten development improves the dough if it is allowed to autolyse, which means you just leave it up to ferment. Okay, so what are liquids? Oh, I like to credit that image to Toaru Kagaku no Railgun episode 18. So what are liquids? Water, or some other liquid, is used to form the flour into a paste or a dough, obviously. The weight of liquid required varies between recipes. The most commonly accepted, you would want at least 3 parts liquid to 5 parts flour for most yeast breads. Recipes that use steam as a primary leavening agent may have a liquid content in excess of 1 part liquid to 1 part flour. Okay, instead of water, you can be a weirdo and choose stuff like milk, fruit juice, yogurt, eggs, or other dairy products. These can act as additional sweeteners or leavening agents as well as water. Neon Genesis Evangelion, episode 21. Now, let's answer this question. What are fats? This is the final one. Fats such as butter, vegetable oils, lard, or like fat contained in eggs affect the development of gluten bread by coating and lubricating the individual strands of protein. They also help to maintain the structure of the bread throughout. Too much fat is used in a bread dough. The lubrication effect causes the protein structures to divide. A fat content of approximately 3% by weight is the concentration that produces the greatest leavening action, which means your bread will rise the greatest and give you that fluffy, creamy texture that you want. In addition to their effects on leavening, fats can also serve to tenderize breads and preserve freshness. Shokugeki no Suma, episode 2. Finally, I'd like to talk about leavening. Leavening is your key to toast. Leavening is the process of adding gas to a dough before or after baking to produce a lighter, more easily chewed bread. Most bread eaten in the West is leavened. The gas produced is often carbon dioxide or occasionally hydrogen or another gas such as, I don't know. I have to research that further. This is from Suicide Bread, episode 1. So here are your techniques towards leavening. Leavening is the process of helping to expand your dough and produce this airy texture. I'd like to talk about the two main processes, chemicals and yeast. For chemicals, a simple technique for leavening bread is the use of gas-producing chemicals. There are two common methods. The first is to use baking powder or self-rising flour, and includes baking powder, okay? The second is to include an acidic ingredient such as buttermilk, and you can add baking soda afterwards. The reaction with the acid with the soda produces gas. Gone real fast. So, now I'd like to talk about yeast. Yeast is a fungi. This is used as a primary leavening agent in baking bread and bakery products, where it converts fermentable sugars present in the dough into carbon dioxide and ethanol. Now, you might be thinking, right, like, what is toast? Is this like some sort of barbecue? Well, no. I like to give an example. I like to give a thorough view over how you should toast your food. So the act of toasting is to cook or brown food via toasters, which is your preferred method, salamanders, which are like conveyor belts that move into an oven, grills, ovens, and then if you're poor, you can use wood fires. Ideally, you want to brown your toast using a toaster for around 200 seconds for around 140 to 169 degrees Celsius. It's not fun.
Question there at the end.
You have a question?
Pure shot trade.
So now I'd like to get into the actual process behind toasting, or the Maillard reaction. You like to think, what is this? Some type of fire magic? No, this is the real deal right here. So Maillard reaction is a chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars that gives brown food its desirable flavor. It is named after the French chemist Louis Camille Maillard, who described it in 1912 while attempting to reproduce biological protein synthesis. The reaction is a form of non-enzymatic protein, which typically proceeds rapidly from around 140 to 169 degrees Celsius. At higher temperatures, caramelization and subsequently pyrolysis, which is basically burning your toast if you're a heathen, become more pronounced. The sugars of the bread react with the nucleophilic, which means they're more likely to donate electrons, amino group to the amino acid, and it forms a complex mixture of poorly characterized molecules responsible for a range of odors and flavors subsequently toast. This process is accelerated in alkaline environments, say you add lye to pretzels. And the amino groups are deprotonated and hence therefore have an increased nucleophilicity. This is very important because this nucleophilicity provides to this like creamy, caramelized flavor that you see characterized by toast. The type of amino acid determines the resulting flavor. This reaction is the basis of a caramelized brown flavor of toast. At high temperatures, a potential carcinogen called acrylamide can be formed. And now, I'd like to talk to you about the many dangers and controversies over the technique of toasting. So there are many controversies of toast, but I'd like to touch on your biggest one right now. So toasted bread slices may contain benzoaperine and high levels of acrylamide. These are both carcinogens generated during the browning process, Maillard reaction. High acrylamide levels can be found in other Maillard-related foods, like say you brown marshmallows over a campfire. The darker the surface color of the toast, the higher its concentration of acrylamide. This is why, according to these losers called the British Food Standards Agency, bread should be toasted to the lightest color possible. So, applications. Besides bread, toasting can be applied to many other foods specifically, and these include, and are not limited to, cheese, marshmallows, bagels, English muffins, and hot dogs. Here are my acknowledgements. I'd like to thank Hayden and Cobb, Yiddish Culture, Alt-Right Movement.